What's going on, everyone? Today we have the TFT patch notes for patch 16.7. This is going to be the patch where the World Championships of TFT are going to be played on, so pretty important patch if you ask me. But we're going to start off with the buffs and nerfs, and then we'll go over how this is going to change the meta. I've heard some rumors, based off of some previews, that Fast 8 is going to be back. I kind of complained that it was kind of dead before, but with Teemo, Tristana, Kabuko, Vayne, Kai'Sa, Seraphine, Yunara, Aatrox, and T-Hex all buffed, the three main characters I'm looking at are obviously going to be Kai'Sa, Seraphine, and Yunara for that Fast 8. Fast 9 is being nerfed a little bit with Galio, Ryze, Sylas, and Xerath. The Galio Ryze comp was absolutely bonkers, and Sylas is so easy to get now, and he's such a good unit that I think this is pretty deserved. I don't think Xerath's was deserved. Was he good? Yes, because some of the charms he gets were absolutely bonkers, but I don't know. Xerath's hard to get, and he's kind of fun. I wish he wasn't touched that much, but after that, we got 6 Augment nerfs, so we are going to find what those are right now. So let's go on into the large changes. We're going to start off with the tier 2 units. So let's start off with Teemo. I honestly have really only been using Teemo as an item holder all set. He's pretty good as an AP item holder, but obviously it's only going to depend if Yordles are good or not. If they are not good, then you won't use him. If he is, then you will. But he's going to get his AP buffed a lot at 4-star. I don't think we're going to reach that often, though. And then like a decent amount at 3-star and nothing at 1 and 2-star. But with the Yordle grab bag, 3-star is going to be pretty possible a lot of times. So while we will get some use out of this, it's not going to be anything crazy good. Next up we have is Tristana. So she is going to get buffs at 1, 2, and 3, and 4-star actually. Tristana definitely needs some buffs. Whenever you play a Yordle comp and you're like, who do I take out first? It's always going to be Tristana. Sometimes it's Lulu, but Lulu's an Arcanist, and a lot of Yordles play around with Arcanist, so you kind of keep her sometimes. But Tristana, pretty much you always ditch her. She's really just some random AD unit you can play in the early game, or if you really need a gunslinger, she definitely can be used there, but nothing too crazy going on with this Tristana buff, I think. So let's go on into the tier 3 units. Another Yordle, Kabuko, his self-heal, he's actually going to get a buff. Let's see what they say here. So our dearest boy has yet to be anything besides an HP bar on the board. Isn't that what a tank's supposed to do, though? But he's not even good at that. That is true. We're giving Kabuko's ability a self-healing buff so that he can stick around a bit longer on your board. Okay. Normally, Kabuko, I thought he was fine because he's a triple trait unit. So I feel like a lot of his power is from there. But yeah, I guess if you compare him to Kennen, I guess he does have better traits than Kabuko. But I guess Kennen, who's a defender, Ionia, and Yordle, is a bit better than Kabuko, who is an Invoker, Bruiser, and Yordle. Just because I guess regions are a bit more important. Also, like, it depends if you run Invoker, right? But let's go into the Vayne change. Vayne is pretty important because she is going to define a lot about the vertical Demacia comps or even her reroll versions. Because right now, if you get a Vayne drop early on, it's still nice to get, but it's not anything absolutely bonkers, but not that it should be, right? But maybe something in between that would work a little bit better compared to right now. But she's going to be getting a bunch of AD and AP buffs. I don't recommend building AP on her, but she does scale a little bit from that. But the AD buffs definitely do help out there because she has yet to recover from our Kraken nerf from many patches ago, and yeah, that was her main item. Units tier 4, we have Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa's AD form spell damage is going to be bumped up at 1 and 2-star. So is Void going to be back? Well, this definitely does help out a tiny bit, but we're going to have to see if Fast 8 is going to be back in the meta before we know whether Kai'Sa is going to be good or not, and that's going to hinge on the nerfs of the 5-cost units. So Seraphine, this one's going to be buffed up a little bit. Seraphine's always just been a support unit. Not necessarily support, that's wrong. More of a secondary carry, I should say. She's sometimes her main carry, but obviously there are going to be better APs to use than her, just because her traits are really, really good. And she fits in a ton of comps, just because like Piltover, it's so easy to splash into almost anything. After that, we have Yunara, so Yunara is going to get a 10% attack speed buff, just on her spell though, so that's going to be more than welcome. Yunara right now, like for Ionias, you have the Yone builds, you have the Ari builds, not much love for Yunara out there. She's still fine to play. Hopefully this buff does help her out a little bit. I think it will personally, but she's not going to be one of the OPs by any means. Next up we have are the tier 5 units. We have Aatrox getting a pretty sizable buff for his spell damage, and then Galio going to be losing 10 resistances. Ryze is going to get a slight nerf. I don't think this Ryze nerf is going to be enough. Ryze was hitting really hard right now, and he just is really easy to unlock right now, so I still think he's going to be a monster personally. Sylas loses 0.1 attack speed. T-Hex base AD going to be bumped up a bunch, and then Xerath treasure cost going to be buffed up a little bit. Okay, so they are just going to be nerfing a lot of his charms rather than actually Xerath. Makes sense, because I did say the charms were the ones that were OP. But the Desert Golems is going to be nerfed a bit, both for resistances and attack speed, and then his team-wide heal is going to be dropped by 25 to 18%. So is Fast 9 dead? No, I don't think so. I still think Fast 9 is going to be the main way to play. It's just that Fast 8 has more spaces rather than just being something where if you get it, you're kind of cursing at the game. But Fast 9 definitely probably still going to be the main way to play this patch, based off of what I'm seeing right now. Next up, we have our Augment. So Ascension damage is going to be bumped up by 40 to 35, or sorry, bumped down, that is. Aura farming is going to be changed from 4.2 to 4.3. I really don't understand what's so hard to balance about aura farming. Didn't I say a couple patches ago when they buffed this that it was going to be too big a buff? What did they say here, actually? Did they talk about it? They don't actually talk about it, but I don't know. Like, I get it. I don't have all the data that they have. I don't have to convince someone to make certain changes or anything, but like to me, it just seems so obvious whenever they've changed this, both this set and last set, that they over buffed it both times. And then they had to fix it 1 or 2 patches later, which is exactly what happened right now. Because if you really think about it, aura farming, like each turn you get your legendary earlier is like a 30 HP swing. Instead of losing 15, you deal 15 to someone else. So when you change it by 2 rounds, which is what they did before, maybe it was even 3, I forget. It was at least 2. Each round is just 30 HP. So if it's by 2 rounds, that's like 60 HP difference, right? Which is assuming you would lose the fight before you get the legendary, which you probably would, right? Because you took a gold augment and it did nothing until stage 4. But I'm glad that they are fixing their mistake here. I just wanted to hear what the conversation was when they moved it to 4.2. I know they got other stuff to worry about as well, like 1 augment isn't going to be the biggest priority compared to like all the champion changes, but it's just something I'd want to hear more about, you know. Bringer of Ruin health per takedown, this one's going to be changed from 40 to 30. Really good for Noxus. I mean, it's still going to be good to take, but obviously not as OP since they are nerfing it. Component heist, number of combats going to be changed from 4 to 5. I'll be honest, I've seen some people take this, but I haven't taken it myself. But I guess if you need items, you really need it. Dragon Guard shield amount, 100% of Jarvan's shield is going to be changed to 75%. Jarvan damage, this one's also going to be bumped down a little bit. Fun fact for the little trait augments, you could check the trait stats on the website teamfight.lol by typing in whatever the trait is. So we could put in Dragon Guards here, and you can see that it's doing a 3.71 right now. So yeah, probably needs a little bit of a nerf, which is exactly what they're doing. But when the new patch comes out, which is going to be tomorrow or whenever March 18th is for you, you could check individually which patch and how the trait does, or how anything does really. It doesn't even have to be the trait. It could be the champions. If you want to check out how Kai'Sa's doing in the new patch, it'll automatically switch to 16.7, but we're going to have to wait till it comes out because I'm obviously recording before it came out. But next up we have is going to be malicious monetization. Initial gold is going to be changed from 10 to 7, and then this one's going to be in line with some of the econ augments that they nerfed before, but I think they already did nerf this one, but they're probably just doing a little extra boost. Promise protection is going to be removed. Why did they remove that? I saw it somewhere here. So we're also removing promise protection, which has yet to promise me a top 4. Okay, so just because it was too bad. Okay. Makes sense. Like, I never saw anyone take this, but I would have thought that they would have buffed it up instead to try to make it work. Walk the True Path 2 temporarily removed. Do they talk about that here? Currently bugged to appear on Path of Enlightenment. And then Wild Growth moved to 3.2 only. Wild Growth is the one for Yordles that allows you to become massive. This one doesn't really show up that often, but when it does, I think it's pretty takeable. But now it only shows up on 3.2 instead of the other stages. Next up we have are the bug fixes. Yone will no longer lock himself from attacking at the start of combat after starting up, and Ixtal's quest, no items on bench will ignore the player's strongest Galio. Makes sense, similar to how Slammin does it. And then Braum can no longer sometimes block his allies' Hextech missiles during his spell. And then too much value disabled in Talker's Trial due to a bug, and then Fizz no longer occasionally has 0 mana when reinforcing in double up. So those are going to be the major changes for this patch, or I guess all the changes. I will be updating the website bunnymuffins.lol/meta for tier lists and comps. I usually do a preliminary update on the release of the patch and then do a full update the day after. And of course, we will be following that up with the opener guide as we have been doing the past couple weeks. But overall, Fast 9's still going to be the way to go. Reroll didn't really get touched that much. I mean, I pretty much love reroll this patch. Obviously, Fast 9's better, but reroll is easier to get into because Fast 9 you need to kind of high roll a little bit. Kind of like starting with a really good hand in poker, right? Like if you get the good hand, you obviously like it, but playing reroll, like you don't need a good hand to kind of get into it. That's kind of the difference there. But yeah, Fast 9's still going to be the best way to play. Fast 8, going to be more playable than it was last patch, obviously, but I don't think it's going to be like the main thing that people do. But all that and more will be updated on the website bunnymuffins.lol/meta. So I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next one.